The SEAL Admiral asked her call sign as a joke. Iron Widow wiped the grin off his face. The laughter echoed through the Grand Naval hangar before anyone realized it was about to die. Crystal chandeliers hung beneath steel beams, polished helicopters stood like silent guardians, and the nation's most decorated officers gathered beneath banners celebrating decades of military excellence. Cameras flashed as famous admirals greeted politicians, decorated veterans, and honored guests. Then every eye turned toward a woman in a simple midnight blue evening dress who walked in alone with quiet confidence. She carried no medals on display, no entourage followed behind her, and nothing about her appearance hinted at the impossible history she carried within. A senior SEAL Admiral noticed her standing near the display aircraft, smirked, and loudly asked what her call sign had been, expecting an awkward silence that would entertain everyone nearby. What happened next would become the story whispered through military halls for years to come. Before we continue, if you believe kindness matters more than appearances, and that everyone deserves respect before judgment, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more unforgettable true-to-life inspired stories to people around the world. The woman simply looked toward the Admiral without anger or fear. Her expression remained calm, but behind her eyes rested memories that had stolen sleep for decades. She had once been known across classified operations by a name few people were authorized to speak aloud. Long before she wore elegant dresses at official ceremonies, she had spent years buried beneath desert sandstorms, frozen mountain winds, and endless oceans where failure meant entire teams disappeared forever. She had earned her reputation not through speeches but through impossible missions that officially never happened. Even after retirement, she preferred anonymity because real heroes rarely searched for applause. The invitation in her hand had come from an old commander who believed the next generation deserved to witness what quiet courage truly looked like. The Admiral, surrounded by officers laughing politely, assumed she was simply another civilian guest invited through political connections. He had spent decades commanding elite units and had grown accustomed to admiration following every step he took. His question had not been born from cruelty alone but from pride so enormous that it blinded him. Around them, conversation slowed as guests sensed something unusual. The woman neither defended herself nor challenged him. Instead, she simply handed over the invitation bearing a level of security clearance that caused the officer examining it to suddenly lose his smile. Within moments, whispers began flowing through the crowd. A retired four-star general standing across the room froze the instant he recognized her face. His posture changed immediately. Instead of continuing his conversation with diplomats, he walked directly toward the woman and saluted with absolute sincerity. The room felt completely silent. Many had never seen that legendary general salute anyone outside active service since his retirement. He addressed her with respect reserved only for those whose sacrifices could never fully be revealed. The Admiral's confident grin slowly disappeared as confusion replaced certainty. Years earlier, she had entered military service when almost nobody believed a woman could survive the brutal demands of the most dangerous covert assignments. She endured rejection after rejection, constantly hearing that she lacked the strength, experience, or toughness expected of elite operators. Every obstacle became another reason to push herself harder. She trained before sunrise, studied every language she could learn, mastered navigation without technology, and became an expert in survival where hope itself often vanished. Every scar on her body carried a lesson, and every mission left another invisible wound hidden beneath discipline. One operation changed everything forever. A multinational rescue mission deep inside hostile territory collapsed after intelligence failed. Entire teams became trapped behind enemy lines with no safe extraction route remaining. Communications died. Rescue helicopters could not approach without certain destruction. Against every recommendation, she volunteered to enter alone through terrain nobody believed passable. For nearly 4 days she moved without sleep, guiding exhausted soldiers through freezing rivers, abandoned villages, and mine-covered valleys while enemy patrols searched relentlessly only meters away. When the final survivors crossed safely into friendly territory, several of them later admitted they had already accepted death before she appeared from the darkness. That operation earned her the classified call sign that became legendary among those cleared to know it. Iron Widow. The name reflected neither violence nor revenge. It symbolized someone impossible to break regardless of how much loss life demanded. During later missions she lost close friends, trusted teammates, and even the man she hoped to marry after retirement. Yet she continued serving because others still depended upon her courage. Every medal she received remained locked inside a drawer at home because each one reminded her of people who never returned. While newspapers celebrated famous victories, her greatest achievements remained permanently classified. The families she helped save often never learned her name. Back inside the celebration hall, the retired general quietly revealed only enough information to explain why respect was required. He carefully avoided classified details but reminded everyone present that countless military families still lived peacefully because of operations planned and executed by the woman standing before them. The elderly veteran seated nearby, wearing faded decorations from wars fought generations earlier, slowly struggled to stand despite his age. He removed his own cap and thanked her for protecting soldiers young enough to be his grandchildren. Tears formed in several eyes throughout the room. The Admiral felt the crushing weight of embarrassment settle over him. He realized his careless attempt at humor had exposed something far uglier than simple arrogance. He had judged another warrior entirely by appearance. For years he had delivered speeches about honor, humility, and leadership, yet in one careless moment he had forgotten the first lesson every true leader should remember: never underestimate quiet strength. Rather than humiliating him further, the woman gently acknowledged his apology with grace that surprised everyone watching. She understood better than anyone that pride often grows where pain has never been challenged. Instead of demanding recognition, she encouraged younger officers to spend less time comparing achievements and more time protecting the people serving beside them. She reminded them that the strongest leaders were usually those whose names history never printed. Greatness, she explained, was measured not by applause but by lives safely brought home. Her words spread through the audience more powerfully than any formal speech scheduled that evening. Young cadets listening from the back of the hall suddenly understood that true courage rarely announces itself. Decorations may shine beneath bright lights, but character is revealed when nobody is watching. Several officers later admitted that the encounter permanently changed how they treated every person wearing a uniform regardless of rank or appearance. As the ceremony concluded, the helicopters outside reflected the warm colors of sunset across polished metal. The woman quietly prepared to leave before reporters could surround her. She slipped away almost unnoticed, exactly as she had entered. There were no dramatic interviews, no requests for recognition, and no celebration of personal glory. She returned home carrying only the satisfaction that perhaps one more generation had learned the difference between authority and honor. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes that true heroes are often the quietest among us. Before we finish, tell us in the comments, have you ever been underestimated because of your appearance or background, and how did you prove people wrong? The Admiral would later admit that the greatest lesson of his career came not during war, but during a single conversation that never became an argument. He had expected to embarrass a stranger with one careless question, yet instead discovered that the strongest people rarely need to announce who they are. Iron Widow never wiped the grin from his face with anger, threats, or revenge. She erased it with dignity, humility, and a lifetime of silent sacrifice. That unforgettable evening reminded everyone present that respect should always come before judgment, because the person standing quietly beside you may have already carried burdens far heavier than you could ever imagine. And sometimes the most legendary call sign in the room belongs to the one who never feels the need to say it aloud.